there should be zero overreactions in the dating phase. The feeling of, I deeply want this woman. However, I know that if I don't act right with this woman, I could lose her. If a man doesn't have this sense that he can lose you and you are always available, a man's going to take you for granted and he's not going to be attracted to you and he's going to treat you like crap. And the reason for that is because you are not emotionally strong to check him and to show up in a way where a man knows that you'll eventually walk away. Men might say that they want a woman that is comfortable, that is safe, that is always going to be there. She's the yes woman. No matter what he does, he is never held accountable and he can never do wrong. And she's always there. This woman that is creating all the safety and certainty in a man's life. A man might say that he wants that, but is that the woman that he actually puts on a pedestal? No, that's the woman that he takes for granted. So this video is for all of us, including those of us that are married, as a reminder that men do not fall in love and stay in love with emotional safety, certainty, and security without this other emotional state that I'm going to get into. I'm going to talk about the two emotional states that men really need to feel in a relationship to know that a woman is the one, but then also to stay in a healthy relationship with her and to feel ongoing love for her. Attraction is so important in a relationship. Without attraction, there is no sense of being in a relationship. It's monotonous, and a man is not going to truly devote his life and sacrifice for a woman, because this is what we all want. We want a man that is going to guard himself from himself for her. He's going to change his behaviors. Let's say if he has certain behaviors that are not helpful, certain emotional states that a man has, trauma that a man has, he's going to change if there's enough attraction and if the woman carries herself in a certain way that compels him to change. Because you can't just get a man to change. You can't coach him, mother him, and have fits and act out to get a man to change. He's never going to do it. There needs to be a compelling reason for him to change in a relationship and to even feel deeper levels of connection so that he can move into marriage, if that is ultimately what you want as a woman. Many of you think that a man falls in love just with your beauty or like all the effort that you make, and if you are just available for him all the time, he's gonna, fall in love with you and want to move things forward. And so you make it so easy for a man. And this is the biggest mistake that I see so many of you women making earlier on, even before a man has committed to you. And before commitment, I'm talking about dating. Even before a man is committed to you in the early stages of dating, you are already so available. And you think that letting this guy know how interested you are in him is going to get him to commit to you and later on move into other stages of commitment. Well, why would he do that? Because again, men and women fall in love differently, and there's different needs that go into why a man falls in love and wants a relationship, or why he would even need a relationship. And safety is the biggest reason that women often procreate, because a woman might not even find the man fully attractive sometimes. But if there's a level of safety that he brings to the table, a woman will go ahead and be with this man. It's very different for men. Men are not looking for safety. They feel safe within themselves. That is the masculine. And women need to develop this safety within themselves, which is your masculine, so that you don't need a man. You are with a man simply because he adds to your life. And if he doesn't add to your life, you don't need him. You should never ever need a man, and you'll never attract or keep a healthy embodied man if you need him, because it's desperate. And so you always want to make sure that you are creating security and safety within yourself. So men aren't with women because they need safety. They feel safe within themselves. They feel physically safe, so they're not scared of being attacked. Like, women need a man for several reasons, deeper reasons for safety, to feel secure, to feel that there's a protector. Safety is a big thing for women. Men don't need that. In fact, a man's life is very safe and boring and certain. And so what men particularly need is to feel the emotional aliveness in a relationship. A man needs to feel uncertainty in a relationship in a healthy way. And so I'm going to break this down for you in this video. We're going to get into the balance between a man feeling emotionally safe in a relationship and how that looks, and also the ability to create uncertainty in a relationship in a natural, organic way so that a man can move into commitment with you because he's excited and he needs to feel that excitement. For those of you that are new to this channel, my name is Fareen. I was a former lawyer. I now teach about relationship dynamics, masculine and feminine energy dynamics, and polarity and attraction. I teach women how to heal and to embody their feminine energy, which requires healing and coming into strength within yourself, which is the masculine energy. If these topics interest you, please stick around, subscribe. I do see that so many of you view my videos and have not subscribed, so it would mean a lot to me if you helped me out by liking the video, commenting, and also, of course, subscribing. So let's just get into it. Emotional safety for a man is important, and we want a man to feel that you are a safe woman. And that is very, very important. However, it needs to happen in a healthy way. So providing too much certainty to a man is being available at all costs. And no matter what a man does, you are that ride or die. You don't want to be ride or die with a man that is not showing up for you. That is abandonment and self-betrayal. And that is too much certainty, which leads to boredom in a relationship because a man doesn't feel challenged. And so emotional safety is a woman that is very good and self-assured. And because she's very good within herself and very self-assured, she doesn't need that much from a man. When we don't need that much from a man, we are not triggered all the time. We don't have an excess amount of expectations for where the relationship is at. There are different levels of expectation from dating to commitment, like being a girlfriend, and then into engagement, and then even more into marriage. However, you can't expect a man that would show up with you in marriage and like the expectations of a man in marriage before he's even committed to you and you are even like girlfriend, boyfriend. And so if earlier on you can't manage your expectations and you have this heavy reliance on men to validate you and to self-soothe, and I teach you how to do this in my course so that you don't need a man to soothe you. You know how to manage your own triggers and be with yourself. If you're requiring this from a man earlier on, you don't feel emotionally safe because what's going to happen is whatever it is that he does is not going to be good enough for you. And again, there's different stages of expectation in every stage of a relationship. And I encourage you to get What Men Want, my book, to help you understand how men will show up in each stage of commitment. Because again, there are different sets of standards and expectations that a man is going to adhere to earlier on versus into being a girlfriend and then into commitment, into engagement and marriage. If earlier on your expectations are too high, your emotional reactivity is very high. And so anything that he does or doesn't do, you're getting upset with, you don't feel emotionally safe to men. And this is going to create a lot of uncertainty in a bad way, meaning you feel unpredictable in that a man is never going to know what mood you're in. It's that feeling of walking on eggshells with someone. It's not a good feeling. And a man really needs to feel that he can come to you and be himself and that you're not going to be reactive over everything. This is so important even into marriage. And I was saying to a client the other day that you don't want other people to upset you. Like the key in my work is to get you so strong internally that the external environment is not triggering you. Because when you allow someone to upset you, you're allowing them to take away your power. And your power and your energy and your attention and your focus is so powerful because that is your mechanism for creation and attracting the life that you want. And so if every single time something in the external environment is upsetting you and is causing you to be triggered, you keep giving your power away. And when you do that, your life will continue to like be this loop. It's a pattern where you won't really be able to become unstuck. You'll be in this state where nothing is really working out. Your relationships are consistently failing, or men ghost you, or you're in a relationship and then the guy pulls away. And the key to get unhooked from that is to not give your power away every single time a man does something that you don't like. This is very important even for women in marriage, that you don't want to show a man that you're consistently upset And this is not about suppressing your feelings, it's about becoming emotionally intelligent and making sure that you don't give access to your emotions and your heart to a man that, first of all, doesn't deserve it, but also to anyone really. You really want to make sure that when you're going to someone with an issue, that you have regulated yourself enough that you can speak in a way that is not emotionally reactive. People that are emotionally reactive feel very unsafe to be around, and they lose their attractive potential and like magnetism. When a man loses his temper or a man is angry, even if he's the most masculine man, are we attracted to that? The healthier you are as a woman, the less attractive you'll find a man that loses emotional control. When a man loses emotional control, it doesn't mean that he's not interested in you. It does mean he's interested in you. Otherwise, he wouldn't care. However, really safe men know how to communicate without losing emotional control. You're not a dominant man if you don't know how to control your temper. You're just not, and it's not attractive. Healthy women will not find that attractive. In the same way, a healthy man is not going to find a woman attractive if she's always getting upset and she's losing her cool. Here and there, if a man is inappropriate, it's appropriate to like lose your temper, etc. But again, this very much depends on the stage of relationship you're in. In marriage, it's not going to be rosy all the time. There's going to be things that happen in marriage that are very different from the dating stage and even the commitment and even engagement. Because when you move into marriage with someone, that is your ultimate mirror, and childhood wounds are going to come up. Even if you think you've healed them, things are going to come up. And there are going to be times where a man is going to be very upsetting to you and you're going to react. And there isn't a problem with that. I'm not trying to make it seem like there's never a time where you're not going to emotionally react. However, it has to be appropriate for the situation. If you're getting mad and reacting over small things, that again is you giving your power away and a man really just feeling like I have her. And it's not going to get you the type of commitment you want from a man, even into marriage, because no one is obligated to you. Even if you get married, that doesn't mean that this person is going to be with you forever or you're going to be with this person forever. Both people in a relationship, even into marriage, are required to continue doing their inner work and to grow. Because if one person continues to grow and the other person stays the same, then the person that is continuing to grow is going to outgrow the person that they married. So don't ever think that anything is constant. The only thing that is constant in life is change, and nothing is permanent. And so having this mindset is going to help you not be so attached to anyone, including the person you married, because no one is obligated to you. Just like you're not obligated to be with a man that is disrespectful, that doesn't treat you the way you want. In the same way, a man is not obligated to be with a woman that is constantly losing her shit and getting triggered for every little thing. It's not going to feel good. So just because you're married and there's that ultimate commitment doesn't mean that people can't leave marriages. So I want to just put that out there. Emotional safety really is the ability for a woman to have an awareness of what she's feeling within her and not lash out or project unhealed aspects of herself onto a man. And again, you have to be able to do this single, and you have to be able to do this then into dating and then being a girlfriend, boyfriend. If you can't do this and master that at these levels, it gets a million times harder when you move into marriage. Because even the most regulated man and woman into marriage, they're going to have issues that come up. It's just the way the world is designed, that the person you marry is your ultimate mirror. It won't be that bad when you get to that stage if you have a certain level of inner work that you've completed, and then you're marrying someone that's done a certain level of work within themselves, and then now you're just continuing to grow, because that's the evolution. When you've healed and you are single and you're happy with where you are, and then you move into dating, you're not triggered by anything because you shouldn't be triggered by anything, and then you move into being girlfriend, boyfriend, and again, your triggers will get a little bit more when you're in the commitment stage, but it shouldn't be that much. Then into marriage or deeper forms of commitment, you're not going to be this woman that is upset all the time. When you're upset, there's going to be a reason for you to be upset, which is fair and valid. And this is when the attraction continues to grow, even if you lose your cool at that level of commitment, because you're not losing your cool all the time. Having an understanding of your own triggers and knowing how to soothe yourself, and it's emotional intelligence and emotional awareness. This is so foundational, because if you don't know how to be with yourself, you're not going to be able to hold space for men. Emotional safety, again, is the ability to self-regulate and to approach situations in a mature manner, not lash out, not get triggered, and be cognizant of the nature of the relationship and the stage of relationship you're in. Just to summarize, emotional safety is the ability to give a man the safe space to open up, to give certainty, and to allow a man to feel that I can open up because she's grounded, she's calm, she's emotionally available, and she won't humiliate me. She won't weaponize my vulnerability. She won't emasculate me. And this comes from your ability to be calm and to be grounded. Emotional stability looks like in you, your ability to be calm, your ability to be stable, grounded. You don't react from a place of triggers all the time. I say all the time because we're all human and there's going to be times where we feel we've overreacted. However, there should be zero overreactions in the dating phase. If you are upset with a man when you are dating a man and he's not committed to you, you have serious internal work to do because a man does not owe you anything at that stage. And if at that stage you are emotionally reactive to a man, there is no way he's going to commit to you and move forward because it doesn't feel safe for a man to want to move into commitment if a woman is getting triggered like earlier on when you're not even girlfriend, boyfriend. It also looks like you can hold space for a man. That means that when he opens up and he shares with you anything, any sort of vulnerability a man shares with you, or let's say he's giving a reason for why he didn't show up or something happened, you're not attacking him, you're not blowing up, you're able to hold space for him and let him feel safe to share. This is you being in the healthy feminine. You're not in your chaotic feminine or the unhealthy feminine, which is ungrounded, unstable, wishy-washy, upset all the time, down all the time. There's no emotional storms when you're emotionally regulated and you're emotionally safe. You're also not in your unhealthy masculine, so you don't react in a cold way. You don't shut down, you don't gaslight, and you're not controlling. These are really important emotional states to be aware of and to heal from. Otherwise, it'll be very difficult to move into a relationship that feels healthy most of the time. Again, there's always going to be those rare instances where we move into our childhood patterns. However, that should not come up until deeper levels of intimacy. The trap that most women fall into is always being available, feeling that a man can never do no wrong, forever understanding. And so when he's not showing up for you, this woman is just always understanding. She's always there. And you love him unconditionally to the sacrifice of yourself. You're self-sacrificing and you're betraying yourself. That's the trap that we can fall into. And that is when we are creating unhealthy levels of safety. The result when we show up in this unhealthy way is he feels safe because he knows you're always there, but he feels flat around you. There's no spark, there's no tension, there's no sense of needing him to rise for you and to be better for you. And he starts to take you for granted. A man is always going to take us for granted if we lack self-love and if we don't have personal standards. Men are just mirrors. Men are teachers. I give you an awareness of yourself and men. So there's one level of teaching that I'm doing here, but your ultimate teacher is men and relationships and your environment. I'm just giving you the awareness of what to look at. If you lack self-love and you don't have standards for your own life, what's going to happen is a man's just going to mirror that and he's going to start taking you for granted. He can only mirror to you back the love that you ultimately give yourself. This is why healing and focusing on ourselves as women and bettering ourselves no matter what stage we're in is so important. Now let's get into the second emotional state that a man needs to feel in order to stay in love with a woman or fall in love with a woman, and that is emotional aliveness. I speak so much about creating emotions in a man because so often women focus on the wrong things to get the attention of a man or the adoration of a man. They think that their beauty matters or their looks matter or how fit they are. And the most beautiful women are not able to keep a man. And I've worked with so many supermodels, like amazing women that are freaking gorgeous, and they are not able to keep the attention of a man because looks alone is not enough. And oftentimes, yes, men want to be with a woman that they perceive as beautiful. You don't have to be a supermodel. It just a man needs to be attracted to you. But there has to be this level of depth that a man feels with you and that he senses when he's around you within himself, that is what keeps him with you. It's not simply your beauty, because beauty alone is only going to get you so far. And we all age, even myself, my gray hairs are coming in, and I'm going through this phase where I'm trying to grow my hair out and keep it healthy and maybe not color it. However, my freaking gray hairs are coming in. And so I was saying this to my friend the other day as well, and she's in her 40s where she's starting to see the fine lines. And I don't have a lot of fine lines because I stay away from the sun, but we're all going to age. And the key is that no matter what, even into aging, we do whatever we can to take care of ourselves, not for a man, but for ourselves. We want to make sure that we feel good in our own skin. Beauty alone is never going to keep a man. Yes, it matters to take care of yourself, to be healthy, but that is actually what a man is attracted to, not necessarily the physical. The physical matters only because if you don't take care of yourself, that youthfulness, like feminine radiance, is not going to show. When a man looks at a woman, and let's say she's in her 40s, later 50s, etc., but she doesn't look her age, it's not so much because of her beauty, it's her radiance that a man is attracted to. It's the aliveness, it's the youthfulness that he's attracted to. Not so much about her physical appearance. It's the way she's taking care of herself, because that radiates in your energy. Healthy emotional aliveness for a man is the feeling of, I deeply want this woman. However, I know that if I don't act right with this woman, I could lose her. If a man doesn't have this sense that he can lose you and you are always available, a man's going to take you for granted and he's not going to be attracted to you and he's going to treat you like crap. And the reason for that is because you are not emotionally strong to check him and to show up in a way where a man knows that you'll eventually walk away. Here's why I am also saying that marriage is not the end all be all. Like, if I am not happy in my marriage and if my husband doesn't show up for me, I will leave. He knows that. He has to show up in a way that is suitable for me. And this doesn't mean that I am a brat or I'm a taker, because I myself give so much to my husband and our marriage, and he knows that. And even in our wedding speech, or his wedding speech, he said, I love you because you make me better. And he said, you know, what I love about you is you're all in. And that's how I am. I am the type of person that when I move into something, I go all in and I give a lot. So whoever is in a relationship with me is really freaking lucky. And I know this about myself. And you need to feel that about yourself. And when I say I give a lot, don't mean I give a lot in a masculine way, in the way that he should be giving, which is providing, protecting. No, no, no. I don't mean in those ways. I mean that I nourish our home with femininity, which is what else could a man want? I'm a happy woman. I do what I have to do to keep myself happy. And I really do my best to honor what he needs in his life, even if it's hard for me. So, you know, the lack of time we have, because of course I'm a stepmom. And so the amount of time he has with the kids is difficult for me. I've admitted this. However, I love him and I do my best to fill my time up during that time. So it's difficult for me and I'm still adjusting to it. That's just the honest truth. But I don't nag and complain and whine and bitch in that area, because that's not going to make him feel good. So even if I have my own trepidation around it, and I love the weeks when the kids aren't here, as an example, today I said to him that I can't wait till next week because, like, when no one is here and the kids are not here, Peter leaves at 6 o'clock in the morning to go to the gym, and I love waking up to an empty house. Whereas, then you can't have that when there's kids around, right? They, by the time they leave, it's just chaotic. And I'm just an introvert. And so that's just the truth. Now, if I complained every day and I was always nagging about it and I was miserable, that's not going to feel good to him. So I do what I can to make it a warm environment for everyone. And I really accept my feelings around the situation. And I don't put that on my partner because I chose to be married to someone that has kids. And I don't lie to myself. I don't say that, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm not fake and inauthentic, because it is really challenging. But I also create space for it to have moments where it feels good. However, it is a big adjustment because I'm used to being on my own and I like being on my own. I really, really love being alone. So it's a challenge. But I don't show up with that energy. I don't show up with that energy in my marriage. And so being married to me, where I'm independent, I like my own space, I love being with my husband, and he knows that. He knows that I love our time together, and just overall being happy and not putting my frustrations on him, like when I know he's doing his best. What else could a man want? And then also being there with his kids as much as I can, and also having a good relationship with their mother, which is something that I've been doing in like fostering. And mostly it's because I want peace in my own life. And so I say this to you guys because I practice what I preach. And so for me, of course, not a lot of things externally trigger me at this stage of my life. However, you know, when the universe brings you someone you're going to get married to, it's going to bring you someone that is going to activate old wounds and old triggers so that you can continue to heal. And so for me, I use this relationship in my marriage to not let things bother me, not get triggered. Because, of course, when you have kids, and those of you guys that are parents understand and mothers, that you learn so much just from kids, and it can be so triggering sometimes. And learning not to let like anything in your environment upset you or throw you back, etc., is so powerful. And so I continue to practice this within myself and create this stability in our home. Now, emotional aliveness for a man is knowing that I do my part in the relationship. I agreed to this much amount of time and I show up the best I can. I go all in, but then my husband also has to show up for me, right? In the ways I need. He doesn't show up for me in the ways that I need, and it is something that I feel like I'm doing more for him and I'm adding more than he's adding to me. He knows that I'm not going to be around. Why would I be around? I don't need a man for money or anything like that. I know how to take care of myself. I simply need a man to make my life enhanced and better, and for companionship, to have like a better quality of life. And if that is not something that my husband is going to provide, I'm going to leave. And that feeling is the emotional aliveness that a man needs to feel to know that this is the person for me, because it always requires him to level up. Not because he's sitting home doing his inner work. Of course, like he's busy, but I level up and I change and I grow. That means that you, if you want to stay with me, have to keep up with that. And a man, when he meets that type of woman that challenges him to be better without saying it, again, this is the key, because so many of you guys will mother and coach men. I'm a coach. I don't coach my husband. He just sees how I show up. And if he knows that I'm continuing to work on myself, I'm continuing to grow, maybe I'm not as triggered, or maybe I can communicate with people in our life that I don't like, and I can be mature and I'm not reactive, then he's gonna look at me and think, damn, I need to step up my game, because if I don't step up my game, I don't want to lose her. And into marriage, a man needs to feel that. And into a relationship, a man needs to feel that. And if you are always going to be available when men mistreat you, when men disrespect you, when men don't show up for you, and you're always going to be available, a man is going to feel safe because he knows you're there, but he's not going to feel any sort of tension, any sort of challenge, any sort of excitement to be with you, because you are so boring. And healthy men want a challenge in their life. And a challenge doesn't mean that you are like walking around as a cold, bitter woman. I mean, you show up as your most feminine self, but that means that you have a level of standards for your life, and a man is not able to cross your boundaries. And if he does, he knows right away he's going to have to fix it. And if he doesn't have this like checkpoint where he thinks that no matter what he does, you're never going to stop loving him. I don't believe in unconditional love. I think that's insane. Unconditional love should be reserved for your pets, because pets love you unconditionally and they will never harm you. I don't believe that unconditional love should be available for anyone else, because when you love someone unconditionally, even when they do harmful things to you, that is self-abandonment and self-betrayal. That doesn't mean you don't love. I'm talking about abuse, emotional abuse, disrespect. Even for children, of course, there's unconditional love for your children, but at some point, children grow up, and sometimes children don't treat you in an appropriate way. You don't sacrifice your own self for your children ever. And this is you modeling to your children to have like a high level of self-worth and to respect you. If your child is going to be disrespectful to you, or anyone's going to be disrespectful to you, and you're just going to take it because you unconditionally love. That's not unconditional love, that's self-abandonment. So aside from your pets, because like they're the most purest like thing on this planet, animals are so pure and they're so loving. The only unconditional love you should have is for yourself. And when you display this level of self-worth, others are going to mirror that back and reflect that back to you because you love yourself. They're going to have to show up that way as well. So what creates aliveness for men? Your boundaries, your standards. Every stage of relationship, there's different levels of boundaries. We can get into that if that's something that you want to talk about, or we can go deeper maybe in a Q&A one day. Let me know. It's essentially the fact that you're willing to say no. You're not a yes girl. Sometimes you're going to say no. You're not going to show up to everything. You're not always going to be available. You're okay to step back sometimes. You're not head over heels on date 2. You should never, ever on date 2 have this feeling that I like a guy. It's too soon. Like, you need a man to prove who he is over a period of time. And when you like a guy on date 2, he knows. And then the dynamic is going to change very quickly. You allow him to work for you and to work for your heart. Essentially, you want him to earn you. And so you're not going to really feel feelings for him until there's been a consistent period of time where he's earned you. Really, the vibe is I like you, but my life is full and my self-love is a non-negotiable. And I'm not going to abandon myself to keep you. That's really the vibe that we want to go for in earlier dating and into commitment. It's the may the best man win energy. This is why it's so important not to settle with the first man that comes along. If you don't feel good about yourself, you're not going to have an abundance of men pursuing you. And you're not going to have this vibe of may the best man win. This is the vibe that I help get you to in one-on-one coaching, where I'm doing a lot of identity work. Because if you're in the identity of a victim, what's going to happen is nothing is ever going to show up for you, and the type of that come into your experience are not going to be the type of men that you want. When you level up, you're going to have this experience. In fact, one of my clients, she's so amazing. She's writing such an amazing testimonial for me, so you guys will see it. It'll be up on the website, where she's attracting all these high quality men. And it is so amazing. But we've done serious work to get her into this new identity. And she's listened throughout the entire coaching period. So even when we had dips in coaching, which she did, it's just naturally going to happen, she got back on track. And so now she has this vibe of may the best man win. And all the men that are showing up with her are so amazing. In fact, she just told me today that she went on a second date with this guy, and he works at this company. I'm not going to name it. And he came on the date with a cast. He had a cast. He was limping. And not only did he not tell her about this before the date, but he just showed up. He didn't complain. And she actually messaged me and she said, she had a lot of fun and she liked him. And I was like, yeah, of course. Like, how attractive is it when a man has an injury and he doesn't tell you about it, and it's like he's so excited to see you and he shows up? This is the type of vibe that she's putting out that is attracting these type of men. And it's the attitude of, if you want to be in my life, you got to show up with action. And when a man knows that you're dating other men and you're quality and you show up with a certain type of energy, they're going to do that. Here's the trap with the uncertainty game that I see a lot of women play, because sometimes, again, as I always say, inner work is deep. YouTube videos are great. It's never going to go deeper. My course is affordable compared to the fact that it was a $5,000 coaching program. And it goes deeper, obviously, than the videos. And you have to do the work to see a change. However, a lot of times women will take on what I'm saying or other creators, what we're saying, but they're not able to embody it. And so they'll take on what I'm saying from a strategic standpoint, and it's going to come off as games. It's going to come off as strategy. It's going to be push, pull, and it's not going to come off as authentic. So this is the trap with creating uncertainty from a place of like low self-worth and a lack of embodiment. You will show up inconsistent. There'll be this like push-pull dynamic, and it'll be hot and cold. And you don't want to show up that way, because that's coming from an emotional, unintelligent place, and he's going to feel anxious and not safe. A man doesn't want to, again, feel this like instability with a woman when it's coming from like inconsistency, hot and cold. One day she's happy, one day she's not. That's coming from an unhealed aspect of yourself. And that is not healthy aliveness. That's emotional chaos. So that is what I don't want you to do. Healthy aliveness is a man feeling that you are choosing him, that you don't need him, that there's a roster of men in your world, and that you are happy and good with or without him, and that you would rather walk away than betray yourself if he doesn't show up for you in the way that you feel is appropriate for you. Let's talk about the sweet spot of emotional aliveness and emotional safety. The feeling that a man wants to have is, I feel safe with her. My heart feels safe with her. I feel I can be open and vulnerable. And yet, I also feel that I have to actively continue to show up as my best self to win her over. She's not going to tolerate disrespect. She's not going to abandon herself for me. She has options and she feels good and secure on her own. And she knows that there's going to be other men that will treat her right if I don't treat her right. It's also a feeling that men have of being inspired by being with this woman. Wow, she's so grounded and she's so emotionally intelligent. I need to rise up to be the type of man that she needs. He's like in awe of you. You are emotionally safe. You've learned how to regulate your emotions. You've learned how to be with your inner girl. My books and my course teach you how to do this. You don't scream, shame, emasculate, invalidate a man every single time you're triggered or you're upset. You can say, hey, this doesn't feel good to me instead of lashing out. And you don't feel the need to say that often with men. And if you feel the need to say that often with men, he's not the right guy for you because, again, as I said, you should not feel any of this, any of these emotions or any type of negative way in the earlier stages of dating with a man. Emotionally alive means that you have a full life, you feel passionate about your life, you are happy with yourself, you love your life, you have standards and a way of life and living outside of him. So your standards don't come because you've met this guy. You have a certain level of standard for the way that people have to show up for you outside of him. You can say no when something doesn't work for you. You don't pretzel your life to see the guy. If he's available at 8 o'clock on a Friday night, but 8 o'clock is too late for you, you can say no. You don't change your schedule for him. You're not always available at the drop of a hat. I had a woman say to me that she was so excited to meet this guy and he had to reschedule. And I think it was like 8 o'clock at night or something. And she like was working that day. And I think she doesn't get off till 8 or 9. And she double messaged him to say, I can do it. And then she changed her mind. That is the thing you don't want to do with men. If you cannot make it on a day that he reschedules to, then offer another date. And if that doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. There's other men out there. Don't give a man the impression that you're going to just change your life for him because you're putting him on a pedestal. And again, that creates boredom. And you're willing to walk away from misalignment. This is so important. Earlier on, if there's not a feeling of, yeah, I see that our values match, I see some potential here, you're not going to just stick around with this person because there's no other options. You're willing to walk away if there's any sort of misalignment. Let's just give an example. There's woman A that is always available. She always forgives, stays no matter what. She explains away bad behavior. This woman makes a man feel safe. However, the man feels bored in the relationship and he doesn't feel any sort of excitement to move things forward. He eventually takes her for granted, which is why he doesn't want to move things forward. Example B is a woman. She can listen, she can be soft, she can hold space for him and hold space for whatever it is he needs to share. But she also calmly is able to say, this doesn't work for me, and then follows through. A woman that is able to say, this doesn't work for me, and doesn't follow through is also not a woman that creates emotional aliveness because a man doesn't believe her words. He knows that she's just saying that as strategy. This woman is soft, grounded, and has the ability to say, this doesn't work for me, and is also able to walk away. He feels safe because she's grounded, but he also feels that he's on his toes a little bit, so to speak, because he feels that he needs to act his best to make sure that she sticks around. You want a man that feels safe enough to bring their heart to you, but never so safe that they can drop their effort. So that's really, really important. You want a man that can feel safe. So men fall in love when they feel safe, that they can bring their heart to you, but never so safe that they can drop their effort. So here's your permission that if you've ever thought you needed to just be safe with a man or just be exciting with a man, I'm going to give you permission to be both. and to embody both safety and aliveness, because that is really what a man is looking for. Be the woman whose energy is safe in a man's hurt, but also strong enough to walk away if need be. These standards keep a man's soul alive. It keeps him invigorated to be around you. If this video resonated, please let me know what you learned from it. Drop a comment, drop a like. For those of you that are not subscribed, stick around. I'm going to be doing some major giveaways for subscribers, and I have some things in the works in a little bit. It also shows that you appreciate my content. Let me know what resonated and what part of the world you're here from. And also let me know what you'd like to see next. And if you want to go deeper, I have free trainings that you can access in the description box. And you can also access the course and the paid products and book a call with me if that feels right for you. And I will see you on the next one. Bye for now.